Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. We are here at Newbury in the Royal Box. They've actually let us out for the day to preview the pick of the action from Newbury, as well as Doncaster, where the Group 1 Futurity is the feature race. And we have Cheltenham back this weekend. Declan Ricks and Sam Boswell. Sam, how have we managed this?
It's been a few years sponsorship here, and I think we've earned the right to let Rixie into the Royal Box. You know, I had to sign a disclaimer, but we're here now. That's the main thing. And the sun's come out. We've got brilliant action for everyone. And we must say well done to you last week for Champions Day, Kate. I think you came out best, it's fair to say, out of all of us. And big well done to anyone at home that found those two triple-priced winners. I mean...
You were delighted, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the bookmakers had a good day. But yeah, great racing and good job Ascot as well. A really good Champions Day. I think they don't get enough praise, I think. You know, we're all quick to moan, but that was a fantastic day.
That's how we could afford today, really. It was those two massive winners last week. So.
It's uncanny timing, isn't it?
To pay this week, yeah.
Uncanny timing. Can you believe you're here?
No, yeah, I have a couple of names I'm obviously not allowed to mention, so I'm going to behave.
Okay, that's it. I know, as Sam said there, all the disclaimers that we had to sign, but we have released you, and we're happy that you're here because we've got good racing to look forward to as well, haven't we?
It's that weird time of year, though, isn't it? There's still good
Love
flat
it,
stuff.
though.
The jumps are starting. Cheltenham is back. So, yeah, exciting time of year. Looking forward to it, and the sun is shining.
It really is.
Do you know the only thing I can't believe Declan's not done, given he loves his going updates? He's not gone and walked the track this morning.
No, your shoes are looking very dry and clean right now. There's no sort of dew on there whatsoever.
No, not yet. No, a couple of lots this morning. The boots didn't have time to ride to walk the track, but we'll see. It's safe to say though that the going is soft. There's been plenty of rain around.
Yeah, definitely is, and we will try perhaps to walk the course then a little bit later on. But of course, before we get stuck into the action properly, a reminder, as always, please do remember to gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, on with the 2:05 up at Doncaster, all races live on Sky Sports Racing from Doncaster. This is a Group 1 Futurity Trophy Stakes for the 2-year-olds over a mile. Aidan O'Brien runs 3. He is seeking a 12th success in the race. But Sam, this has been a funny old market this week. What's it telling us?
Oh, it's been a bit bonkers. And I suppose anti-post betting on any race now is a smaller pool to work within. But these it was everything from jockey bookings to talk to everything else like that. But we are where we are now. Aidan has the front 3 in the betting as it stands. And it's an interesting renewal. And I must say, I thought Hawk Mountain was the horse at a price that I wanted to be with here. I think you weigh up the 3 that Aidan brings here. What boxes does Hawk Mountain tick in comparison to the others? For me, both the Page, with the dam being Hydrangea, who ran really nice races on soft ground without winning a particularly prestigious one. You then look at what the horse has achieved, the win last time out in the Beresford on soft to yielding ground. I felt that was why he was the bet for me here at 2-1, and I thought jockey bookings perhaps were the main reason that he wasn't ending up going off favourite as the market stands at the moment, but that could well change. The interesting thing for me as well is Aidan's 3, all of them have won prominently and from the front, so trying to work out who's going to go forward I thought was going to be a real challenge. But for me, I thought Hawk Mountain had the most upside. Yes, the debut run you could argue was a bit disappointing, but you know, went left at the start from memory, got a bit of a bump in running, subsequently won twice at the Curragh. That Group 2 looks fair. I think another step forward is needed here, and I know a lot of people want to talk about this race for Derby pointers, but I'm just purely thinking about this race on Saturday. For me, Hawk Mountain was the one I wanted to be with.
That move that you saw in the market earlier in the week, did you think Benvenuto Cellini would not run? Was that the vibe you were getting? Or was it ground related?
I suspect that's what punters were thinking.
Okay.
You know, people, anti-post guessing by its post betting by its nature is guessing. You know, we don't hold all the cards. We don't know, especially if you're doing it before a horse has had its final piece of work or before there's been sort of sound bites. It's always a challenge, and it's getting harder, I think, weirdly, for punters now, I feel like.
What do you think about that when we start to see Aidan O'Brien horses during midweek drifting out and then coming back in again after being anti-post favourites? What do you make of it?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no smoke without fire, as they say. But I don't know. Like, look, Sam is probably in the best position to cover that because, you know, they'll see the people who are placing these bets and and whatnot. Not that you get involved with any of that, of course, Sam. But as opposed to, is it just punters having a view, an informed view, or is it actually punters, having a bit of maybe like inside information, if you will, and knowing that a horse won't turn up? But that's not the case here, because he has turned up, hasn't he?
What's your insider information telling you then?
No, Aidan doesn't answer my calls anymore, so that line of inquiry's gone, unfortunately.
Who are you with then?
Do you know, I think the market's got a little bit wrong. I don't think there's an awful lot between the 3 O'Brien horses, and for me, Action is overpriced now. Now, I know Hawk Mountain and Benvenuto Cellini are both Group 2 winners, but, I think they won their Group 2s at 1-2, and I think the other was 5-4. And I'm not sure there was loads in that race. On the other hand, Action ran in a really good autumn stakes, won by a nice horse in Bo Echo, and I thought he was a little bit unfortunate. I don't know, was he slow away by design the last day, or was he just slow away and they were just trying to maybe educate him? But, being last on the Rowley Mile on quick ground is not the place to be, and that race was running a nice even gallop, and I thought he did really well to go as close as he did. He was actually impeded a couple of times late as well at the 3 pole by Bo Echo, and then just late on he was looking for a bit of room down the rail as well, but he ran on well. I think this lad stays a mile really strongly, and that's going to be absolutely no bad thing on that ground, and the ground's going to be the big key here, isn't it? It's officially heavy, soft in places up at Donny, so we don't know who's going to handle it. The favourite, I think, moves like a nice ground horse. All the O'Brien horses do, to be fair. But what my horse has got in his favour is he's a half-brother to a Derby winner in Lambourne. So that's one thing, as we know, as he stays. And the other thing is, I would argue Lambourne's best efforts this year have come when there's been juice in the ground. So it's going to be Action for me. And, if we're going on jockey bookings, Wayne Lorden at the moment looks to be, and always is, number 2. Is he on the second horse, or is it just a case that Ronan Whelan's riding Hawk Mountain because he won them last time out? I suppose the market will be the guiding light, but at the price, I'm happy to play Action.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting on the jockey bookings because, of course, we know that Sumion had ridden the favourite previously. We know that Hawk Mountain, like I said, jockey staying loyal there as well. So maybe it was just whichever jockeys actually know the horses.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you saw Christoph Sumion was interviewed, I think, on ITV opening show a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he? Or was it last week, ahead of Champions Day? It was there anyway, and he basically asked about jockey bookings, and it was clear Aidan has the calls on the jockey bookings. So that's how we don't know, but maybe we can chat to Aidan at the track on Saturday and get the inside scoop.
You will try your best to. Yeah, we have heard that, haven't we? Even with Ryan Moore fully fit and firing, that it's basically Aidan that makes all the calls anyway. So we're actually going for 3 different horses in here. So I actually did some filming earlier on this week about, it was kind of preempting my early Guineas and Derby picks. And I looked at the Derby betting and I thought, okay, right, let's try and take on Benvenuto Cellini, who's at the head of the market here. Try and find a lurker, and so many are going to come out of the pack over the winter. However, just kept coming back to Benvenuto Cellini, and then of course I saw him in and out of a betting for the Futurity this week. I thought that's fascinating, but I really like this horse because obviously I went back and watched his previous starts, and as you say, Rixie, for all that he's this really lovely moving flashy chestnut, as we can see, and he's got a beautiful easy stride out pattern. However, on his penultimate outing, he coped with the softer conditions in really, really good style. Last time out, now this was super impressive at Leopardstown. This was in the Champion Juvenile Stakes, Group 2 contests over the mile. The ground was drying throughout the day then, and he did prove that he could deal with that really well. So I don't think it really matters to him in terms of ground. Well, it's going to matter, I think, less to him than it is for a lot of other horses in here. And we know we talk about stamina. The further he went, the better he got over the mile trip at Leopardstown. So I'm really excited about him. I hope that the ground really doesn't blunt it, but at this stage, you've got to give him every chance that he can perform in that going. So 3 different selections from us in the Futurity. So nice ways to play that.
You know what happens there.
Exactly. We need to start keeping tabs of that when the 3 of us. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But do let us know, though, in the comments section below who you are siding with in the Futurity. As we move on to Cheltenham, bit of a change of gear now to the 220. This is a handicap chase for the 4-year-olds and over 3 mile 1. So the feature race at Cheltenham on Saturday, a £100,000 handicap chase. Rock My Way is heading the market at 6-1 in what looks a very competitive race, Rixie.
Yeah, super, super competitive, and I'm going to keep this pretty simple and just go with the short go. Henry de Bromhead has won this race the last 2 seasons. You know, I think it's a race that, as its 7 and 8-year-olds have done well in. He fits those kind of trends as well. And he was second in this race last year, wasn't he? He ran really well. He's a little bit higher in the weights again, but you know, he just likes spring ground. The de Bromhead horses are really flying early season. And again, you know, as we said when we previewed Chepstow a couple of weeks ago, that is half the battle. Horses that are forward, strings that are forward, they're fit, they're healthy, and the Bromheads are going really well. I've no doubt he's handicapped and he's good enough to win this race. He's got a big engine, this horse, but it'd be remiss of me if I didn't mention his jumping. He can throw in on Howler. He does need a bit of luck, and Darrow Keefe's going to need to be on his mettle and get him popping away nicely. But if he puts in a good round, I've no doubt he's good enough to win, especially if they don't get any more rain there at Cheltenham, because I think the nicer the ground, the better his chance.
I was actually listening to Rachel Blackmore on the way down today about what she made of him, because of course she rode him previously and said he's not an easy ride, said that he needs to be held up.
Yeah.
He takes a bit of wrestling and he can bust a fence as well. So whether or not that suits this track configuration at Cheltenham remains to be seen. But like say, de Bromhead at Cheltenham.
Well, that hold-up style generally I don't think is suited to Cheltenham, but you know, he showed he can run well there last season. But yeah, he does come with risks. But I think at 8-1, you know, I could make a case where he should be fab, to be honest, given the way the de Bromhead horses are going.
And there should be a lot of pace on in here as well, Sam, so super competitive.
Yeah, super competitive, super challenging. So I'm naturally picking out a horse that hasn't won since his bumper days, which when I realised, I suddenly thought, this probably isn't the best. But back me or sack me.
You sided with him before.
I did. It was the
because I
race.
couldn't just remember him taking the
Yes,
pick.
it was the race at Haydock where he finished 5th in a competitive handicap hurdle, and he's been chasing since. A couple of angles to why I like his chances before we crab the fact that he maybe doesn't win as often as he should. He could be a bit of a complex character, I think it's fair to say. Sean Bowen. I mean, at the moment, Sean, what isn't he winning on? You know, he does look at the moment just that head and shoulders above everyone else, and he's in a great vein of form. Fingers crossed he's all right, because he had a bit of a bump, didn't he, at Fontwell yesterday. But apart from that, his record this week's just been outstanding. The way he's been riding has been great. So Sean's on board. He's down to his lowest weight he's been for the last 12 months in 10 stone 2, which I thought was interesting. And the handicap has given this horse a chance. Sometimes we see the Irish horses coming over, and he's put him on a mark of, I think, 1-2-4, which seems pretty fair given his 5th last time out in Ireland. And I actually like the fact he's had a run coming here. You've got a lot of horses that are having their first run of the season here.
Yeah.
And I think with flat horses, that puts me off less. I think it's easier to get a flat horse completely 100% fit at home, whereas the jumpers, I just think this is going to be a real test, isn't it? 3 mile one, and the ground we're expecting, what good to soft ground at Cheltenham. So there should be a bit of pace on here, and I just thought back me or sat me. He was a much bigger price, I must add, because I'm going to put him up in my long shot, which I'm going to get pelters for at 17-2. But he was a double-digit price when betting open yesterday, and in the week he was 20s, and there must be a reason Paul Byrne is willing to persist with this horse. He must have a race in him of note, so I'm going to put him up.
I thought you were going to say something then.
I thought you were about to.
He was smirking to row in.
No, I was just laughing at the lady outside cleaning the windows there in a good dolphin jacket while we were trying to film a show here. So if you heard any rattling around, that's what that was.
There's a lot going on right now at Newbury Races, so apologies for any sort of surround noise or anything that you might be getting through.
I was wondering, you were looking, I was like, have I mentioned one of the names I wasn't supposed to mention? Well,
No, you're just smirking away there. But yeah, I don't blame him for being a complex character. The fact that he's got that name, to be honest with you, so I don't blame the horse whatsoever. I'm taking a bit of a chance with the horse at a bigger price in this one, Manila Blue Way, who I'm hoping is at a bigger price. There he is at 16-1. Now, not an Irish horse, which I feel might be letting myself down in this one, because of course this race does tend to go to an Irish raider. So of course he's not going to be that, but in the Williamses, I trust, because this horse is actually £2 out of the handicap here, running off a mark of 10 stone 2, but he looks so upwardly mobile. Now, we're looking back at him on his last start. This was when he won at Uttoxeter. Now, on the 15th of March, so you would not be blamed if you managed to, if you missed this race. There was a few other races going on this day, apparently. Now, this was super impressive. Of course, this was his novice chase campaign, and he just was improving hand over fist. And the fact that he won so convincingly this day just showed to me that he still has plenty more to come. Now, this is over 3 miles in a Class 2 contest. As I say, it was against fellow novices in this, but This was now making it 2 from 2 in the cheek pieces, and it was the attitude more so than anything that he showed in this. Now, the runner-up this day, finishing second, was actually sent off as the favourite. So he returns off £9 higher, as I say, £2 wrong at the weights, but I'm going to have to chance that the Williamses clearly know what they're doing running a horse like this.
Manila Blue Ways, I think it's in Clonmel, where I'm from. That's it's across the road from the Manila Hotel. They've got a lovely little kind of path you can cycle down there. So yeah.
Bit of extracurricular knowledge there, bit of added context.
Bit of useless knowledge for everyone.
This is also the third time now you've mentioned Clonmel today. I don't know if it's mainly being on camera, but you've been mentioning Clonmel a lot, so clearly you're
And if you want some other, because it's the Irish versus the English again here at Cheltenham this week, Clonmel was the only town in Ireland to keep Cromwell all that way back. But now we're getting into politics.
Now we really, and you're currently sat in the Royal Box,
yeah,
so mind
exactly.
yourself.
So yeah, let's move along quickly.
We definitely shall, but that is of course the contest at Cheltenham we were looking at. Do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. Now we switch to Newbury for the 3:10 contest. This is the Group 3 Horris Hill Stakes for the 2-year-olds over the 7 furlongs. And a reminder, not only is Doncaster's action all live on Sky Sports Racing, as is Newbury's as well. Now, Time to Turn, shading favouritism in this one. Of course, looking to bounce back here, Dec.
Yeah, he is. I think I'm happy to take him on. I think you can make a case here. You can pick holes in the first 3 in the market. Time to Turn. I'm not sure he's the BHA handicapper has on 107. I'm not sure he's that good. And last time out, I don't know what to make of the run. It looked like he was going to run a massive race in the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère, and just he stops, really quickly. So I don't know, had he had a bit of an interrupted prep and he needed the race badly, but you never really like to see a horse stopping that quickly, and especially now that he's going to get back onto probably even softer ground. Pandemonium, I think visually he's looked very good in his 2 starts, but I don't think he's learned a lot in 2 really steadily run races, and this is obviously a step up in grade. And then Stellar Sunrise hasn't run in 2 months after really impressing from a wide trip at York in a nursery there. And I'm going to go to another horse who actually won in a nursery, and that's Wetchad for Roger Very. Now, he does have to improve, but given he won a nursery off 82 last time out, but geez, I thought he was really good this day. He looked in great order under Sylvester de Souza. I'm not sure, there was a little bit of a headwind this day, and de Souza had cover, and then he lost it, and then he raced on the wing, which I never think is ideal for a juvenile, but he went and he picked these up very easy. You can see now he's off the bridle here, going to the 2 pole, which suggests he stays, but just look how he moves. It's coming into the jump season now, and Michael Flatley will be getting a lot more mentions as regular viewers of the show know. But look how he moves in front. I think he's got a handle cutting the ground really well. There was a little bit of juice in the ground this day, as you can see there. It's kicking up a little bit, but he's going to handle cutting the ground. That's going to be like half the battle, isn't it, at Doncaster and at Newbury this weekend. Like I say, he does have to improve, and he hasn't run, I think, maybe in about 44 days, but you can see him there, a little bit of size and a little bit of substance to him. I'm hoping he's progressed further again, and if he has, the Varian Yard, they don't mind backing one. He might go off a little bit of a shorter price, especially if those worries I had about the horse at the front of the market are proved to be correct.
I'm in so much agreement with you here, because I'm also worried about the favourite in this, not just for the fact of last time out and the manner of that performance, but also just when you look at races like this ground, this time of year for 2-year-olds, when they've had a long campaign as well. I mean, he started out on the 22nd of May, Time to Turn. He's an early foal as well. I think he's a February foal. So 2-year-olds at this stage, when they have had a long campaign on the back of last time out, ground as testing as it is, yes, he is the horse to beat on all figures and all official ratings. However, I just couldn't row in with that price, despite him being very much the horse to beat. So it is Wetchard for me as well, because you made the point there about the ground, and that was, to be honest, the biggest factor. I know we're talking about a group contest at this time of year, but it was just the ground was the main factor for me, and the fact that he also actually started his career early enough on the 27th of May. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite with a 5-day difference between these 2 horses, but he's a later foal, and he has proven himself on softer ground, as you say, at Doncaster that we were just looking at. And that day, you just thought he looks like a listed or group performer in the making. So I was happy to side with him, give him the bit of a chance in this one. Doubts over plenty of his rivals. So at 13-2, Wetchard for the pair of us two, Sam. Are you with us?
I'm not going to make a hat-trick. You're half right, I'd say, because I completely agree that I want to take the favourite on here in Time to Turn, who I just think is just too short a price with the question marks we've got. I know there was a break then the French run. But I do feel like the horse has been busy enough in the context of a few of the others that we've got in here. And for me, Declan, you mentioned Pandemonium. I know there's a lot to find on the form, but I'm really, really keen on this horse. The profile's obvious, isn't it? Unbeaten, arrives here 2 from 2, and has form on soft ground. We're going to watch back. This is the Yarmouth effort, and goes really nicely here, I think it's fair to say. And listen, one thing I would say is I don't think you can go back through the form book and say the horses that were in behind both here and on his other win have particularly done enough to really boost his profile. But I think there could be more to come. The Crisfords seem to be ending the season quite well as well. And I just thought I definitely wanted to take on the favourite. Where could there be more to come? The ground won't be a question mark, which is so nice. And just look at the way at the line here. That's kind of hands and heels, you know. And listen, as I said, I know there's not enough substance to the form to sit here and say, this is a max bet. But it's going to probably end up being my nap this weekend, I think. I really, really like his chances. And I just think there's more boxes ticked than not by him in comparison to the favourite, where I've just got question marks about, could it be one race too many?
You've given away your nap and your long shot.
I know,
so far.
I
It's
know.
only the next best that
Everyone's
we've got to stay
tuning
tuned
up
for.
now.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, well, we'll stay tuned for the next best, which is always the most exciting pointer.
And it's interesting you say that as well about, you know, he's coming here at a little bit of a plan, or it's maybe not being a plan for others in the year. We did a stable tours with the Crisfords about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Crisfords mentioned this race for him. So it sounds like this has been the plan since that red car win.
Oh, there you go. Then there's a further little bit of bolstering
thanks,
for you.
Dave.
And a pointer to the website
And
as well.
a great
Nicely
name,
done.
Pandemonium.
Yeah,
Is a great
yeah,
name.
it's not like it's better than our name. Don't know what our name means, but it was just, catch me off guard a bit.
Yeah, probably Arabic or something, is it? Wetchad? Don't know.
You're the culture. You're the man of culture.
Am I? Really?
Nowadays, so.
Well, now I'm,
apparently
now
so.
I'm in the royal box. I actually am a man of culture.
If it's not from Clonmel, the name, then we've got no reference point whatsoever. But again, do let us know your own selections. And also, whilst you're there, hit like and subscribe on YouTube and the bell notification as well, so you never miss an episode. On to the 3:45 at Newbury now. This is the Group 3 St. Simon Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over a mile 4. Another Godolphin favourite in here in Ancient Wisdom at 9-4. Now, Hamish took this race 2 years ago at the age of 9, looking to give William Haggis a 5th win in the race.
She'd be getting the boot. She didn't even mention the sponsor.
Oh, sorry, the BetVictor St.
mention the
Simon
sponsor.
Stakes. I was too busy. I was
Rixie's to be
focusing.
hosting next week
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
race.
I
Back
I
in
was
my good
wondering
book.
why he was clearing his throat in the corner there. I was sort of thinking,
Clear my throat like an animal here. What's he doing?
No, it's because it didn't fit with my alliteration. I was rolling with that. Apologies. The BetVictor St. Simon Stakes. There you go. Right, Sam, you take it away now. Your sponsored race.
yeah, it's. I'm quite pleased actually the turnout here. I think we maybe a little bit short in the previous race, but we got plenty in here, and there were a few going through that I kind of thought, oh, maybe, and I know one of you at least is going to talk about the William Haggis horse in Hamish, but I'm just not sold on how well he would come out from the Ascot effort recently, where Al Cream really put him to the sword, I thought. So that's one I'm going to leave. Ancient Wisdom was just a bit too short, and the one I like the look of, which is a bit of a leap of faith is required, but if anyone remembers the hit by Jack Jones, Stars in Their Eyes, or the TV show if you're really old, but what a great horse he could potentially still be on paper. Debut against Field of Gold, obviously finishes second, then wins a couple of races, including on soft ground at Leicester, and then we don't see Rafe Beckett's horse till September, and I went back through and found some quotes, and the suggestion was that he'd had a little bit of a niggle, I think, when he was coming back in towards the start of the season, and they were aiming for kind of July time. That obviously didn't transpire, and we saw him return at Goodwood, where he was finished a fair mid-div position, which I think he's more than entitled to have needed that run. My concerns, I suppose, would be, is he as good as he could have been potentially with that knock? Maybe not, but the soft ground is going to be absolutely fine, and I just think this was a tune-up, a stepping stone towards this kind of target. He had bags of ability. I think there's plenty to like about his chances. 7-1 was very fair. I thought it was a bit of an each way price at 7, probably not. But I really hope the market sides with him. We see some confidence, and Rafe Beckett can take this contest.
I've heard a few shrewies mentioning this horse for this race.
And me.
As well. And you to the list. And it fits with the alliteration as well. Stars in Their Eyes in the BetVictor St. Simon Stakes there. Rixie, you going to add to the alliteration?
I'm not, but I do agree with Sam about maybe taking on those to the head of the market. What do we make of the jockey bookings here, the Haggis duo? because we've got Ray Dawson riding Alazi, who carries the penalty, and we've got Tom Marquand riding Hamish. I know Alazi's got a penalty, and that maybe kind of scuffers it, but I don't think there's an awful lot between the two of these, is there?
No.
So I wondered, did Tom have the choice and he's just picked Hamish, or Hamish obviously kind of a bit of a yard pet, isn't he? So maybe
Maureen
that's
rides.
As we've got a wasp interrupting live coverage here. But look, it was a race that I wanted to have a swing in. I wanted to take on Ancient Wisdom. His only run here in Newbury was an awful one. Now, they blamed the ground that day, fair enough. Hamish, I was really disappointed with him last time out. He just didn't look himself, and you wonder now, is time catching up with him? As I mentioned, Alazi's got a penalty.
And he's Alazi.
And he's Alazi. He was beaten correct odds on in this race last year behind Max Vegas. So I kept going down and down and down. And the other thing I noticed about this race, I don't see pace in the race. It could be a real sit and sprint job, and I just wonder, could Sea Scout maybe steal this on the front end?
So you are adding to the alliteration.
Oh, I am. Sorry, my brain wasn't working correctly when you asked me that question. But yeah, I'm with Sea Scout now. I think he needs everything to go right to win this race. But I thought he adapted well to front running this day, and he nearly stole this race from the front. Now, to be fair, again, he did have total run of the race, but he's got some nice horses off the bridle and behind him here. That's Gethin there, the grey horse of Owen Borzos in third, and I can't remember the name of the Wathnan horse, but he won a handicap of a big rating at Glorious Goodwood. And, all that form is solid there. And the horse in fourth was an Aga Khan horse who I think went off fab. So, if under similar circumstances, given we know he handles cut in the ground, if James Doyle can steal this on the front end, I think he'll run better than 10-1, especially as I'm hoping the horse to the front of the market between maybe not liking Newbury and an ageing kind of profile suggests he can run well. So, while I wasn't with the Crisfords in the last race, I'm with them here.
You are certainly so. Best Secret.
Best Secret,
it was,
there you
and
go.
I've just quickly had to look up there, not going to lie to you.
It came straight off your head.
Oh, didn't it just, yeah. Yeah, so Sea Scout in the St. Simon's Stakes. Oh, it's just great, isn't it? So I'm going to ruin this, both of you two, with horses up, give him a best. Good old Hamish. I've got to be with him, haven't I?
I knew you'd tip him, Kate.
I can't not. I don't know how many more opportunities I'm going to have, because, of course, he's now a 9-year-old. At the end of his 9-year-old campaign, we know that he is a bit of a yard pet. The fact that Maureen Haggis rides him every day, and I mean, she's been pulling no punches this week, has she, Maureen?
Hope Tom doesn't give him a bad ride. He could be in for it.
So I just hope that she's been able to channel all of that oomph into the training of Hamish this week. But what a brilliant horse he has been. And I've got happy memories of this race, to be fair, because obviously Max Vega in it last year took a bit of a stab with him, and it came to fruition. Now, Hamish, of course, not as big a price here. I don't necessarily think he's as good this year as he has been, of course, naturally so. He is now a 9-year-old. I don't think the drop-off has been huge by any means, though. And, of course, we're looking back at him when he won at Chester on his penultimate start in mid-September. This was a listed contest over a mile 4. He finally got his ground that day, and we know with Hamish, it is just a case of having him ready for when his ground comes about, which is no mean feat at all. To get a horse to peak when you're subject to such changeable weather conditions is such a skill as a trainer, and obviously then the assistant trainer, rider, outer, or whichever Maureen would like to class herself as for Hamish. But I hope that he's still able to perform to a high enough level, ground that will suit. Tricky race, loads of characters that we know plenty about, but there's no doubting his ability.
My biggest nag was that Ascot race taking a little bit more out of it. The winner from the front was...
One thing I would say, because I was with Al Kareem that day, if I remember, we previewed that show for Weekend Winners. One thing I would say is he didn't get warm that day, and I think he's by motivator. I think when he's at his best, he gets a little bit warm, and you can see he's up for it. And, he got a squeeze. I think Kieran Fallon rode him that day. Kieran sat into him after a couple of furlongs, and I just wonder, was he not at his best? And you factor in then to Al Kareem, turned it into a real test of stamina a long way out. Coming up Swindley Bottom, Clifford Lee was getting after him, and I just wondered, did all that kind of phase into it now? If you back him, I'd like to see him just get a little bit warm and just show he's up for it, because he's going to get his ground, isn't he?
Yeah, the paddock watchers will be right there then, just to see if he is starting to sweat up a little bit, which will be no mean feat at present, 'cause it was a bit chilly this morning, wasn't it, on the way to Newbury? So yeah, hopefully we'll get to see that from Hamish. And Al Kareem last time is such a good horse, as we know, and he's proven that subsequently as well. So hopefully it hasn't had too much of a detrimental effect then on Hamish. But that wraps up our big race preview part of the show. Stay tuned for our best bets of the weekend. As promised, time for our best bets of the weekend. Rixie, as always, you're up first.
Right, the nap and the long shot, actually, we haven't discussed this week, so I'm hoping we'll have a good week. But yes, the nap is going to go in the 4:25 at Doncaster, and that's going to be Alpha Crucius for the Gary Moore team. George Bowie's got a nice horse in there, El Burm. I have a lot of respect for him, but Ashley Lewis takes £5 off this son of Australia who loves to get his toe, and I'm hoping that can get him home. The next best we have already discussed, and that's going to be that's going to be Wetchand, who again he's a horse who likes to get his toe in. We've discussed him heavily already in the show, so I'll crack on to the long shot, and that's going to be Look Back Smiling, who also runs at his favourite Donny in the 350 for the Gemma Tutty team. Warren Fentiman's going to take £5 off him. He's got lots of form with horses to the top of the market, but he's a lot better off, and Donny is his favourite track. If he gets his favourite pace to run on the ground, stays heavy, I think he'll run better than 14-1 now. Our friends at BetVictor haven't priced up the race yet, but Alpha, the nap is around the 4-1, 5-1 mark, and Look Back Smiling's around 14-1. So hopefully we'll see what the BetVictor traders do. You might get bigger, you might get shorter.
And nicely deflected there as well. We talk about our friends, our added edition, our extra guest here of Mr. Wasp, also joining us in the Royal Box. Hopefully, I'll pay them away for better guests than us. For when they come in a bit later on. Sam, your own best bet.
I hope there's pandemonium behind me when the punters all get behind my nap, which is going to be the Crisford horse. I'm convinced that he'll shorten up a little bit more in the betting. I like the fact that there's proven soft ground form there, unexposed, and as we come to this point in the year where some of these horses have been on a go a long time, I just have question marks, even if they've had a break or two. So I like to think the unexposed nature of this horse, arriving here unbeaten, just stepping up. The form does need to improve. What the horse has beaten him behind probably isn't enough to win this, but the manner of that victory we saw earlier in the show definitely took my eye. Next up, we're going to go to the Futurity, where I still think Hawk Mountain should be favourite. Even with the jockey bookings, I hope Roland Whelan gets a really good tune out of this horse, who had back-to-back wins at the Curragh. The Beresford win for me on that slightly easier ground is a huge plus arriving here. And I'd say the Page as well, out of the three O'Brien horses, suggests to me would be best equipped to handle that heavy ground. But we shall see. And then my long shot, it's a bit of a naughty long shot, Kate, if I'm honest, because it's Back Me or Sack Me, who's now not really a long shot price at 17-2, but was double digits when I put it in, so will forgive me for that. Greatly named, a difficult horse to win with. Sean Bowen will have to be his absolute best, I think, off 10 stone 2, which is the lightest weight I think he does. I'm convinced, though, there is a big pot in, and so must Paul Byrne, given he's persisted with this horse in a number of big races. Seem to remember getting him a bit wrong at Haydock, as we mentioned earlier on in the show. But offences hopefully could be the making of him, and he's had a run as well, unlike plenty in here that are making their seasonal return. So maybe got a fitness edge as well.
I really hope that horse's nickname is Big Ange. His stable name surely has to be, doesn't it? It's just too perfect for that. But no, I will gladly allow you that as a price for a long shot all the same, because mine's shortening up as we speak anyway. But currently at 16s, hopefully I'll just stay there and not go too much short about my long shot. But my own nap is going to be Benvenuto Cellini here at 5-4 in the Futurity, the Group 1 contest. The current anti-post favourite ahead of the Derby, with ground seemingly unlikely to inconvenience him. He, of course, improved to win on yielding to soft ground at Killarney on his second start. Last time out, he blew them away again on good to yielding ground. Group 2 Champions Juvenile Stakes over a mile at Leopardstown. The further he went, the better he got. He's a flashy chestnut son of Frankel. Clearly very exciting. Wetchard is going to be my next best bet in the Horris Hill. This is at 13-2 for all of the aforementioned reasons, where I'm just slightly concerned about the ground and the long season for the favourite Time to Turn, for all that he is clearly the horse to beat on all official ratings and figures. However, when we get to 2-year-olds at this time of year, it can cause a little bit of an upset. I'm hoping Wetchard will be the horse to do that. And Manila Blue Way still at 16-1, thankfully, in the really competitive 3 Mile 1 handicap chase at Cheltenham at 2:20, making his reappearance start. There hasn't been a negative, though, for this race in recent renewals. The negative has been siding against an Irish runner in this race, though. However, I'm still going to hope that Manila Blue Way will be able to defy being £2 from out of the weights for this one. Well, lads, this has been enjoyable, hasn't it? The sun beaming down. We fended off wasps, we fended off window cleaners, we fended off everything, and we've managed to last out, Rick. So we haven't been kicked out of the Royal Box yet.
Yeah, not yet. There
The
is
day
still
is
time,
young.
though.
The day is young.
Yeah. But no, really enjoyed it. So it's nice to get out of the studios and have an all day out. So yeah, thanks to Newbury for having us here. But really enjoyed it, and the weather has played ball.
And I think Newbury are going to let Rixie and us loose to do best turned out for our weekend winners sponsored race, and there'll be some behind the scenes social content going out, I think, on the other races.
Very well
socials.
flagged up, very well flagged up. So yeah, definitely make sure to stay tuned for all about the races, social media channels for all of clips of what we get up to today. But that is everything from us on this very special show. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Best of luck with your bets this weekend, and we'll speak to you again next week where we preview the pick of the action, including the Breeders' Cup.